So it's pretty early in the morning right now, and I don't really know what else to play right now. So I decided, you know what, I'll hop on the first game. I haven't been on it in a while, but um, this game is super fucking dead. It's the main reason why I don't play it, and I honestly don't understand why other people play it too. Like, it's getting to the point where this game has already been dead for a while, right? In terms of like with a live player base, this game has been dead for a long time. Problem is we have like these players who just keep playing it. I mean, hell, Andrea Lee still is in this lobby, and Andrea Lee's been playing this and getting his ass kicked for so fucking long that I'm surprised that he hasn't just stopped playing off the sheer fact that he keeps losing against the same fucking people and that he's never ever winning games. Like I would get sick of that after a while and I would just stop playing. But my issue stems from the fact that Electronic T and these other competitive players who play scrims just keep playing this. And like they're calling up random ass people just to like play in their scrims, and it's just like just play Battlefront 2, man. Like we're getting to the point where this game is so dead that you don't have an excuse anymore. T and them, like I get it, like you don't actually want any competition and you don't want an actual challenge, so that's why you don't want to play BF2. And so you play a super lopsided game competitively where um you either force people to camp by camping with Imperials. That's kind of like the secret, like the secret they don't want you to know about is they defend Rebels camping because whenever Rebels don't camp, they'll camp with them. They'll play super defensively with Imperials, hit and run and do nothing else, and play in the most boring way possible to force you to camp. That's their secret. Is like they will camp if you don't camp to force you to camp, and then they'll say, "Oh, look, you're camping now. You're doing what we do." It's just like, well, that's only because Imperials are more powerful when they camp versus Rebels. Rebels literally can't do anything against Imperials that camp 90% of the time. So, but they'll camp with Rebels versus us for whatever reason, even though that only time that we're forced to play defensively with Imperials is when our teammates are so bad that pushing on the Rebels is almost impossible. So I don't understand their whole like excuses and their mentality. It just doesn't really make any sense to me. But obviously that sort of like mindset wouldn't work in the first game, or not in the first game because this is the first game. The second game, because the second game is balanced for both sides. Like both sides are equally powerful. Like one side can be more powerful defensively, but they're just as strong offensively. So there's never like ever like, oh yeah, this side is stronger defensively, this side is stronger. No, both of them are equally strong. So there you don't have these lopsided, boring games versus camp. It's usually not like that. You do have games like that in Battlefront 2, but they're more usually as a result from the map than it is like the team that you're going against. Like if you're facing Imperials on a super indoor map, chances are you're going to be going against like a Bosk team. Like a Bosk with like three Saber characters, so like Kylo Ren, General Grievous, Darth Vader. Sometimes you'll get like a super defensive like blaster team with Iden Versio, Boss, Captain Phasma, BB9, but those kind of teams are exceptionally rare. Usually people like playing the Saber characters a lot more because it's just a lot more fun to play the more aggressive styles in that game. Problem is the Battlefront 1 player base will never ever move to the second game because they don't want an actual challenge. They want to play a casual, unbalanced game competitively. They're no better than the players who play Dead by Daylight competitively, who think that Dead by Daylight is a balanced experience when it's just a casual game for casual players meant for fun. And I've heard some players say like, well, competitive games usually have a bunch of casuals in them, and casual is the majority. What's the deal? Well, the thing is those games are designed for a competitive experience for the most part, and a competitive experience is interesting to watch and interesting to experience. Um, the competitive experience in these games are unbalanced and not very interesting because there is no balance really at a higher level. High level Star Wars Battlefront 1 is super uninteresting and super fucking boring. There's nothing to it. All it is camp here. It's basically a staring contest between two sides until one side gets bored enough to push. That's really all it is. There's nothing else to it. Um, I've never watched a scrim with AT-AT, and I never thought it was ever entertaining ever. And if they say that it's fun, I call complete bullshit because I've never ever heard any of them have a fun experience playing scrims. So, average, it is mildly entertaining, but to watch, it's probably one of the most boring things on the planet to watch, and it's even worse to play. I played a scrim in Bf1 before, and it's one of the worst experiences I've ever had. All it was a giant staring contest, and my teammates rage quit because I wouldn't camp, and they would, and they got frustrated that I wasn't camping with them. That's my scrim experience. So, yeah, on that side of the spectrum of T and, BW gamers and them, I don't think they'll ever play the second game, simply because it doesn't conform to them, especially like players like Labyrinth. Labyrinth relies on like controller modifications. BF2 only has like two characters, the two or three characters that benefit from the strike pack: Han Solo, Lando Calrissian, and Boba Fett, because pressing the R2 button does wear your hand down a bit. But that's really it. Because the game is focused on saber characters, the strike pack, at least in HPV, does nothing. And none of the majority of the weapons, or at least like the top tier weapons in the bigger modes, are not affected by the strike pack. So I feel like that the simple fact that they can't be carried by controller modifications immediately means that players like Labyrinth will never play the game. They will rather sit in 3 or 4 hour long queues in their giant ass in Supremacy and never ever be able to play than actually play a game that is alive and has an actual player base, as opposed to this that was already having a dwindling player base, but now it's just actually dead. And as for Legion and Boba, I don't know what's going on with them. I see Cookie and everybody else talking shit in their comment section. I don't really give a shit about them because I know it's the same for them. Allegiant shit at Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Allegiant will never play a game that he's shit at because he's only going to play a game he's naturally talented at. Which is fine, I'm the same way, but he's never going to catch me playing this game ever again. I'm just going to be on the second game. If anybody ever wants to make an exposed video, they'll have to get on the second game now, because that's the Star Wars Battlefront game that I'm going to dedicate most of my time to. And even then, I'm playing a bunch of other stuff too, like Friday the 13th, Dead by Daylight. I've even been playing Mons competitively a lot more, so there's that. That's pretty much the only thing I play competitively now, and even then, I wouldn't say that Pokemon is like the most competitive experience ever, because it's heavily dependent on RNG, and some of the metagames, especially like the more recent ones, are heavily unbalanced. Whenever like a new Pokemon game comes out, it's basically a bunch of broken Pokemon, and the metagame for like the first few months is just hell on earth with unbalanced Pokemon that break everything. So yeah, if you didn't know that Pokemon was an unbalanced, broken game, it is. But it's a game designed for children, and for fun. So of course it's not going to be designed in mind for competitive experiences. But despite that, there's an actual community that creates rules and balance, a pretty small community compared to like the casual player base, but like the competitive player base is still pretty interesting, and the competitive metagames are still interesting, whereas like Battlefront 1 doesn't have that. So again, I don't understand this whole emphasis on being competitive in scrimming, because scrimming doesn't fucking mean anything. Yeah, I get the whole, like, shitting on randoms might be boring, but if you're getting bored of shitting on bad players, why don't you just go play a different fucking game? Like, this game isn't offering you anything. Like, this game isn't going to offer you a challenge, and this game isn't going to offer you a competitive experience. So I don't understand what the fucking problem is. Just go play a different game. Well, I actually know the answer to that. I know that these players are too scared to try something new. They don't want to actually be competitive at something. They don't want to hop on Mortal Kombat X and actually start playing, get their asses kicked for a few months to a year, and then actually start getting good. They don't want to do that. They just want to play their boring ass Star Wars game, which is the only thing that they're good at. But I got a little sidetracked there. But um, the whole like Allegiant Boba thing, I don't care about them. Like they could continue talking shit. To me, a lot of their shit talk in regards to the rest of my group is a bunch of empty words because they'll never hop on. The only person that really plays the first game a bunch is Son of the Night. No one else plays this. Like Cookie doesn't want to play this. He plays Battlefront 2. Leo, whenever he plays Battlefront 2, he doesn't want to play this. Um, Pilot will sometimes play this, but he usually prefers the second game because the second game offers him a challenge. His words. That's literally what he said. Um, and I feel the same way. Like, I get... the second game is just more fun compared to this. I've already played this game for as long as I can, and I don't think there's anything left that I could experience. With the second game, I feel like there are experiences that still could be fun and still could be interesting to me. This game, I've already experienced everything. There's nothing left. So, yeah. I don't think they'll... And as for Boba Fett, he plays the second game, but I don't think he'll ever play it ever again, because good luck trying to find a group that will accept somebody who throws tantrums whenever he starts losing and will start like ignoring what other people say to play in his way. I mean, I know that's rich coming from me, somebody who rages at his teammates and stuff whenever things don't go my way, but the difference between me and Boba Fett is I will actually play around my team. Boba Fett wants people to play around him, and usually playing around him is almost impossible because he will make dumb shit decisions that make no sense. So, and he will often, whenever he gets tilted, he usually doesn't say anything, but you can tell, like, as somebody who's been playing this game for years and who has gotten mad in many different ways, he usually isn't vocal whenever he gets pissed. He usually just stays silent and doesn't say anything, but he'll play significantly worse. Like, he'll start misplaying more, he'll play more aggressive, he'll start messing up a lot more. It's pretty clear, and it's pretty easy to set him off, too. That's another thing. So, I don't really ever see him playing the second game, either. If he does find a group, good for him, but I don't really... With the bad attitude he has, I don't really see him staying in any group for long. And as for Legion, he doesn't want to play this, from as far as I know. So, we'll never see him in this ever again. So, despite the fact that this game is super dead, and the fact that this player base is really, really pathetic in terms of wanting to find a competitive experience and a non-competitive game that has stuff like insta-heal and one-tap weapons and characters like Darth Vader who can 1v1 90% of the cast by himself, and there's like absolutely nothing that you can do versus him with a lot of characters, and then Chewbacca, who basically is the same way. They still think that camping and playing in the most boring way possible is like a fun experience. And I'm just kind of like, if you think camping is fun in this game, I think you're the same person to enjoy watching paint dry. Probably. I mean, I wouldn't know, but still, I've never had respect for this community. I had respect for this community maybe back in 2017 when the player base was willing to play in a very fun and interesting way. But something I will note, all the players that emerged as top players were considered very, very bad by the good players who still played this game until they moved to the second game. And then all of a sudden, they proclaimed themselves as really, really good players once all the good players moved to the second game. So I kind of find it strange that people like Electronic T would consider themselves like really good at this game when there isn't any real competition left except myself and then some other groups, like some other really small groups. But for the most part, a lot of the extremely good players left. So of course you're going to say that, because the good players no longer are playing, which leaves yourself and, you know, my group, and then that's really it. So, yeah, I don't understand that logic at all. And the whole, like, I'm too scared to play scrims. It's not that I'm too scared to play scrims. It's just, if you were to invite me to a scrim, I would get myself banned from scrimming. If I were to ever get invited to a scrim, I would sabotage your scrim. I would kill myself all the time. I would body block my teammates. Because playing scrims is fucking boring. All it is, it's just a giant staring contest between two parties. And like I said, that is not gameplay to me. That is not interesting to me. I would rather kill myself over and over again because that is more fun and engaging than actually playing the match that will ensue. So, if I were to ever be invited to a scrim, I would get myself banned from scrimming immediately from those groups. I would just get myself banned. I'm pretty sure I'm already banned from playing with Electronic T, but if you were to ever invite me, well, guess what, T? I will get myself banned from playing in your scrim. I will sabotage the scrim. I will make everybody's game miserable because I don't take you seriously, and I don't think anybody else would take you seriously. That's the end of this is it. Like, it's over. It's time to go play Battlefront 2. If you want to come and get us, and you want to actually show how good you are, and that you're actually willing to get good at a game, to get back at the people who are willing to troll you all these years, go play the second game. That would actually impress me if you did. If you and your group were in BW and all them were to hop on this game to try and get back at us. But I know you won't because you're too cowardly and you're too pussy to try something new. And you'll probably say the same thing about me not playing this game, although this game is fucking dead, and again, as I said, I've already done everything in this game. I've already pretty much beaten everybody at least twice or 3 times now, so I'm done. This is it. It's over. If the same people are still playing this game by 2022, I know that there's no hope for you guys. I know that if the servers were to shut down, you guys will just stop playing video games, period. And I think that's pretty fucking sad. But, you know, I think that this video is an open challenge to everybody, BW gamers, TO Cake, Electronic T, all of you guys. This is an open challenge to get the second game, buy it, practice it, good at it. Come and get us. Come and try and actually beat the good players who play that game. Prove that you're actually good at video games and that you're fucking, just shitters who just happen to get good after all the good players left. So, let's make it happen. I'd be happy if these people were to prove me wrong, but I sincerely doubt that will ever happen. But you are welcome to surprise me. But that's probably going to be all for me for now. So, I'm going to fuck off.